Folded in the Pages, Episode 2, Old Boy. Listen with kindness in your heart. Old Boy is a song about radical self-acceptance. The final lyric of the song reads, "No matter what you did, I love you." This is meant as a pure expression of unconditional love for the self. Self-acceptance is one of the most powerful practices in both life and songwriting. Without self-acceptance, we are vulnerable to harsh self-judgment and anxiety-inducing comparison to others. This insidious self-judgment has its roots in fear. We fear we won't be accepted. We fear we are not good enough. We fear who we really are. This is a negative energy that stops creative flow and prevents us from finishing our works. Creative decisions that are influenced by this force take us farther from our pure artistic voices, and oftentimes lead us to making songs that are safe and derivative. When we vibrate in fear, we are judgmental and mean to ourselves and others. When we lose the ability to be open and playful in our songwriting, we miss the point of art completely. This is the focus of this month's message, and it boils down to one very simple and powerful axiom. Listen with kindness in your heart. Listening with kindness in your heart means being open and free to witnessing your own works as you would the works of a dear friend. When you have completed a song or a recording, try to view the finished work within the context of your whole life. If you are working in earnest, each successive song you write will be a direct record of where you are in that period of your life. Learn to see your life from above and recognize that your songs are your attempt to capture the ephemeral nature of your humanity in a humble sound vibration. If you can see yourself as a cosmic songwriting vessel, capturing your unique mortal experience on a strange planet, you will realize that there's no need to judge yourself or prove anything to anyone. You are simply recording your experience. This meditative approach not only trains you to see your finished works as the tiny, unlikely miracles that they are, but also to approach subsequent works with the same playfully reverent attitude. When you practice looking at your art, and by extension your life in this way, you become acquainted with the miracle of existence itself. In the modern age, it is easy to forget the miracle of existence, even though art itself blooms from its contemplation. Consider that before recorded music was widely available, you would have to be in the presence of one or more musicians playing live in front of you to be able to hear it at all. It is safe then to assume that, in those times, music and its connection to divinity was much more intensely felt by the listener. For instance, my grandfather was a professional piano player who told me a story about a wedding band whose members got lost on the way to a gig in the Catskill Mountains back in the 1930s. By the time the reception rolled around, the only member who made it to the dance hall was the clarinet player, he told us. And do you know what the wedding party did? What did they do, Grandpa? They danced for hours. An entire wedding party danced for hours to a single clarinetist. That, my creative friends, demonstrates the fundamental connection we all have to the raw power of music. Flash forward to now. Since the 1930s, we've gone from live music to records to CDs to MP3s to streaming and to now, where we are all lost in a dull attention deficit wasteland of lifeless 30-second clips, scrolling numbly before our eyes with all the subtlety and nuance of a brick to the face. Make no mistake, this mutation from art and divinity to content and commodification is poisonous to your art and your sense of self. When you vibrate on its level, the best you can hope to achieve is conformity to trends that masquerade as art and emotions that are nothing more than corporate soup du jour. The modern social media landscape is a portal to toxic self-judgment and harmful comparison that seeks to stop the creation of art and keep you engaged with your cell phone. How can you accept and love yourself if you are constantly barraging your psyche with the seemingly prettier, more talented people having a wilder party on the greener grass on the other side of the fence? How can you listen with kindness in your heart when you vibrate on this level? Keep your focus on your art. Keep your focus on the process. It is that simple. Think of attention as money. You don't have unlimited attention to pay, so you must choose where to pay it. As a songwriter, what do you get in exchange for excessive attention paid to Instagram, for instance? I can say for certain that, unless you are doing field research for a song that satirizes or comments on the nature of Instagram, you won't get much. Your investment of attention may even pay negative dividends. What if, instead, you invest your attention on the world around you, the feelings inside of you, the rhythm of your physiology, the thoughts you entertain, and the skills you nurture? This, my creative friends, is an investment in awareness that leads directly to a wider perspective and a higher vibration. In time, spending your attention in this way makes listening with kindness in your heart as natural as breathing. This is not to say that social media can't offer us beautiful works of art that bring us into deeper connection with one another. It absolutely can. It's important to be aware, however, that a device that serves you endless content is designed to make you an aimless consumer, not a focused contemplator, and only focused contemplation leads to finished works of art. Learn to be disciplined with these modern devices. Learn to use them as tools. I find I am particularly vulnerable to harsh self-criticism when I am near to finishing something. At this point, the honeymoon stage is over. The song, which began as an idea with infinite, boundless potential, has been confined within the bars of rhyme and melody. The molten lava rivers of angst and emotion that swirled and roiled against the banks of this new creation are cooling. The song has taken form. I've also probably listened to it 1,000 times at this point, making the whole thing kind of grim and stale. It is in this vulnerable state that I remind myself that the energy that stirred this creation remains locked inside it, ready to explode into infinity once again, this time in the minds and imaginations of the people that hear it. I remind myself that existence is a miracle, and music is my human testament to that miracle. I remind myself to listen with kindness in my heart. The more I practice this mindset, the more I grow in positive vibration. The less I judge myself and others, the more I am free to marvel at the humanity in each individual. If you practice riding this mental wavelength, your world will expand in love instead of contracting in fear. Practice making art as an act of love. Consider that when you decide to be a songwriter, you take your place in a long line of human beings who, just like you, wanted, maybe needed to express themselves through words tied to melodies or rhythms. When you practice being a songwriter, you train your mind to see the world not necessarily as it is, but as a metaphor for all human experience as it is collectively felt. After all, you are a human being, having a human experience. When you put that experience into song, you are exploring your unique humanity and reporting back to the rest of the world using vibrational sound energy. You are singing to all of conscious reality and saying, "This is my experience." You are millions of particles miraculously formed by a cosmic force that defies comprehension, the literal embodiment of the universe experiencing itself in real time. You are the sum of all those fleeting experiences, for better and worse. The act of transmuting those experiences into words and broadcasting them into the hearts and minds of others is nothing short of heroic. The songwriter looks at the chaos of reality itself and rebelliously orders it and makes it beautiful. When you zoom out and see the sheer implausibility of you existing at all, it makes the notion of toxic self-judgment seem downright silly. So, when you feel yourself slipping into fear, when you feel the need to compete with the phantom on the other side of the screen, when you judge and constrict instead of expand and play, when you forget that you are 7 billion atoms of mostly empty space organized into a celestial being that is experiencing itself in real time, remind yourself of the miracle of existence. Remind yourself that your songs are a divine reflection of that existence. Open your heart, open your mind, open your ears, and listen with kindness in your heart. And go. Sorry.
I don't know what you want me to do. You're just like pushing me.
Give me that light.